Hello again, it's Garson, and we've talked about the new monk that's coming out with the patch 8, but I got a different new monk for you. How about we combine open hand monk with new death cleric to get tons of necrotic damage, and even a special ultimate ability we call the Way of the Death Touch. Are you ready? Let's go ahead, beat the crap out of everybody. Also, we can use inflict wounds for some crazy damage. Boom! Oh, wait for it! Kaboom! Alright, so of course, we can bite him, we're a Asterian, we're a vampire, woo! Haha! Yeah, we can do much better than that too. That was a nice inflict wounds. Death touch at 17, not bad for a multi-class. Alright, got some shield. You still have a crab and a spider here on the team. Alright, what kind of a menace can we create with Way of the Death Touch? Alright, so, like I said, the cool standout feature here is you can use Death Touch, obviously with your spells, but really any melee attack. So what about 2 Death Touch, if they can even survive with a flurry of blows with all this necrotic damage? Boom, and boom, boom, ooh, boom, boom, ooh! The Way of the Death Touch, yeah, we like that. And we can use some inflict wounds, kaboom! But of course we always do have good old-fashioned punching. Thanks to being an open hand monk, we get all this crazy necrotic damage, and because we're death cleric, we can ignore resistances to all of that necrotic damage. Oh yeah. There we go. And then we can do some even cooler stuff, like on our action, we can use hold person since we're investing so much in wisdom, and now we can critically hit with all this damage on our flurry of blows. Oh yeah. Oh, the chilling death. Oh, he just died. Murphy's stuck. Help me! Ah! It's terrifying. Alright, so we'll roll it back. Again, a quick one showing you what we're probably going to be running in the next run on stream. Because we're actually finishing up, let me go over the Way of the Death Touch. This is a build video, not so much to give a build, but actually a preview of what we're going to run in the next run on stream, and why I'm going to do it, and what it takes, so you can follow along if you want to build this once patch 8 is out. Here's some a little bit of a breakdown, okay? But a big thank you to you guys. I'll keep this really simple because I don't want to talk about my channel myself too much. But thanks to some of you guys and some of the people I know I've been talking to lately, I've remembered the KISS method, K-I-S-S. Keep it simple, stupid, or keep it stupid simple. So I appreciate you guys for that. And really, some of the feedback is very helpful. Thank you. So to that I say to all those out there, just remember EKWA, all right? So, Death Monk, how do we actually make this? How is it relevant to patch 8? What is run 4? Okay, so follow along on the right hand side. This is going to be a short one again, just going over a build that we're actually going to play in honor mode on the stream. And if you want to use this as reference for your run when the patch comes out, that's what I'm doing it for, right? So I appreciate you guys, but if you want to help out the channel, I really appreciate it if you just watch the whole video. I promise it'll be fun and it won't take too long breaking this thing down, all right? Patch 8 run 4 means that we ran actually 3 times into honor mode with pure brand new subclasses, right? So for instance, we ran the Crown Paladin, just pure level 12. We tried it out with 3 other new subclasses to see how it works in its own class, and then I rated them, and you might see another rating video coming out soon because we're just about done with run number 3. So we have literally run all 12 new subclasses, right? And I did that because thanks to you guys I have patch 8, the stress test at least, and we want to see if we can maybe leave feedback for Larian, or maybe they did such a good job, and so we've tried to run them in honor mode with that rule set because it should be good in all the other play styles, or you know, tactician and lower, but I think they're all really stand out except for maybe 2 of them. But I know one of my favorites was Death Cleric, right? So I've run these, I have playlists of these in honor mode, and now we're finally getting to what a lot of people have been asking: what are you going to run for multiclassing? How do these work in multiclassing? Let's see some cool unique ideas. Why did you rate these so highly? Show me what you meant, right? So I love most of these subclasses. We'll keep it short and sweet. I'm going to rate 4 more of them, maybe tomorrow, the next day. But if you've been watching the streams, you probably already know my opinions about them. And now we can multi-class with this next run. And so what I'm trying to do is kind of preview what I have planned, thanks to you guys helping me test stuff in the streams. The questions we've had in previous videos and answers have come out to some really unique stuff. Yesterday we showed the jellyfish grasping or shocking grasp build. And so I have another fun one. Everybody loved this the moment I came up with this idea. I loved it. I want to play it. So I want to play another Punchy Monk. For those who've ever played Punchy Monk, you usually rely on a method called it's called Tavern Brawler. Use a feat called Tavern Brawler, which adds your strength bonuses twice to your punch, and it's ridiculously strong because you can use the strength elixir. But I've been asked by you guys, why don't we play one that doesn't rely on Tavern Brawler, right? So let's play, I also want to play more Death Cleric, and I wanted to do a unique multi-class that uses the Touch of Death, which is any melee attack can add a fixed amount of necrotic damage, plus if you go far enough into Death Cleric, you get 2 of these on short rest, and you can ignore resistances to necrotic damage. So this is going to be a unique multi-touch that utilizes that death touch, even adds it to its theme of being a monk that invests into the, dark energies of the touch of death. So I also needed a bludgeoning fighter on my team. Okay. Anyway, without getting too nerdy and too overcomplicated, let's just see what we get out of Open Hand. If we start with Open Hand and go all the way with level 6, we can actually add our wisdom to our damage in the form of necrotic, radiant, or psychic damage. So I just want this to only be necrotic for this build. So that'll be a little bit of a tweak or like a home brew rule. So we'll focus in on Open Hand because it adds this necrotic damage to our punches, and it also gives us flurry of blows. We get some options like push, topple, stagger. Everybody who's ever played Open Hand usually likes it because look at all the crazy stuff you can do with it, the crazy damage, right? So Step of the Wind also, as I've found out as I've played monks in honor mode, Step of the Wind is really underrated or low-key amazing. We call it Step of a Win for the reason. This can really dramatically improve your movement for just a simple key point. And yeah, plenty of key points at this level, 7 on short rest. That's a great, and you're going to see a short rest synergy with Death Cleric in a moment, right? So we can also overcome magical resistances with our punches, which I've now played a build. It was called War Master, where I didn't have this, and it was a little striking, no pun intended, but it was striking how little, or how much that actually comes into play. You really want to be able to overcome resistances, like, say, this robot over here, the Steel Watcher, right? He does not have magical bludgeoning resistance, but if you hit him with physical bludgeoning, he can resist that. So it really mitigates a lot of your damage. But then, we're also focusing on the necrotic. Either way, we have to go to level 6 for all of this, and we get a lot of benefits there. And so we'll get the necrotic damage at level 6. It's thematic. We can hone in on that damage type. We can use equipment that adds even more necrotic damage. We'll use Asterion for a 1d10 eventually. In Act 3, he'll get even more necrotic damage on punches. And it gets stronger with Wisdom, which is funny because Wisdom with a monk adds more armor class and not dex, but a saving throw benefit, which is one of the best saving throws in the game. You definitely don't want to get hit with hold person, right? And so we're going to get those benefits defensively, and then thanks to Open Hand, we get those benefits from our punching damage, right? So then how does Death Cleric fuse into this, evolve it into something really cool and unique, right? So Death Cleric at level 6, we'll have to work our way up to it, our max level of 12, but you'll eventually have 2 touches of death, right? Which is also a channel divinity comes back on short rest. So that's actually pretty cool synergy with the key points. It works with any melee attack. So if we use inflict wounds, or we use flurry of punch, or our basic punch, it'll feel really thematic to punch people, even with a stunning strike, right? We can stun them while potentially murdering them with the touch of death. And this is going to get stronger the more, or I should say this is going to get stronger the more cleric level we get. It's a fixed amount of necrotic damage. Don't believe this tooltip right here. Okay, so you could actually pull off 2 touches of death with a single flurry of blows, which will be our signature level 12 ultimate attack, the touch of death, the double whammy, the wombo combo. But yeah, at level 6 you also won't have any resistances to deal with, so if anything resists necrotic damage, right, thanks to inescapable destruction, this works even on weapon attacks, not just spells, so nothing will resist all of this necrotic damage we will be building up, right? And so at level 12, we will have a lot of necrotic damage by then. with our higher wisdom and whatnot, and then we'll be turning into a half caster too. So as we go more into cleric levels, we'll be evolving into a half caster that can use things like command, hold person, utility like blindness, maybe enfeeble, but we'll eventually have something like necrotic spirit guardians because you can't resist that, and just cool stuff like that. We'll also have the utility of like sanctuary, the absolute BS of sanctuary, right? And I think that's a really cool mix between a cleric and a monk playstyle, right? So we'll have all these cool options, you know, evolving as we go from level 7 beyond. And we'll even have from the beginning, thanks to level 1 Death Cleric, your Bone Chill actually gets to target 2 targets, right? So we'll actually get a really reliable cantrip that gets better as you level up anyway, but we'll be able to target 2 things, and we get the infectious, delicious, fantastic inflict wounds. I love using this thing, and it has to be used in melee, so once again we'll feel like we're using the touch of death with this spell, so it'll feel like another signature attack we can do on the battlefield, right? And it uses our action, which is great because then we go right into our bonus actions for a totally different resource, mind you, right? And do some serious damage with flurry of blows and inflict wounds. We'll have really cool attacks regardless that really feel like the way of the death touch, right? So some more death touch options and theming, right? And finally, now wisdom is also, since it's not just adding to our armor class, right, for being a monk, it's not just adding to our punches, right, with the necrotic damage, but now it's adding to our spell save and spell DC, right? So we're getting more and more investment for going into wisdom almost exclusively, real. But yeah, build time. Let's get into it, Tim. It's build time. I'm just interested in doing another punchy monk. I love playing punchy monk, and I feel like this is going to give me a challenge where I'm not going for tavern brawler and strength elixirs, and some of you guys want that too. You've asked me for an example, so we'll get to see a brand new like new subclasses example of going about this. Will it work? I don't know, but I think it'll evolve really nicely from level 7 onwards, getting those death cleric levels. And maybe it's not strong enough early on, but I feel like once we're like, you know, maybe level 5, level 6, level 7, we'll have this necrotic damage, and we'll have, you know, we'll be having a good time with it. So anyway, the way of the death touch, here's the right resources. If you skipped ahead to this point, it's 6 open hand, and then you'll take 6 levels of death domain, and I think that will evolve pretty nicely. But we'll start out with 16 dexterity, so that when you get the graceful cloth, you don't even have to worry about dexterity anymore. That should be good enough. Also, by the way, the cloth armor, this thing is great because it looks very skeletal, very thematic anyway. So we're going to stick with this all the way. So we'll start with 16 dex and eventually get 18 from wearing this. We'll have 14 constitution, decent amount of HP, but really it's all about that wisdom. So we'll actually go, we're only going to get 2 feats. We'll start with 16. If we take 2 and then another 2, we will eventually have 20 wisdom, and this does so much for us. It's almost what do they call it? Single ability dependent. Sad. We'll be a sad death touch monk. All right. So the gear, obviously, like I said, very thematic. Just serendipity. I love when things work out this way. We want the 2 decks anyway. It really can't do much better there anyway. We need to rely on decks for the accuracy of our punches, but 18 should be good enough, especially with some other buffs. And so we'll have the skeletal armor, the graceful cloth, right? The Helldust gloves, actually, the final version of these in Act 3, they can be got pretty early, actually, if you know what you're doing and go to the House of Hope. But obviously there is an earlier version you can get, and we get more necrotic damage out of that, and we inflict bleed. And this is actually going to play into my team when I talk about the team we're going to run, but bleed is really going to help enable some other things on the team anyway. So that actually synergized pretty nicely. But yeah, we're just doing it for the necrotic damage, and eventually this will give us accuracy on spell attacks and spell save DC, so that's cool. Kashigo boots, you can't go home without them. If you're going to be a punchy monk, this is very hard to avoid, because you can take your wisdom and get even more bludgeoning damage. That's how our bludgeoning damage gets pretty decently high even without Tavern Brawler. Hellrider bow, since we're using a ranged cantrip to get a ranged attack, so we'll use Tavern Brawler, or we'll use Hellrider bow to give us some initiative. So we actually get pretty decent initiative, +7. And I'm big on initiative, so that's why I do that. If we're not going to use the bow to attack, might as well use it as a stat stick. Heroic Elixir, this helps everything we do, from spell attacks to saving throws to Punching, you know, it's just good accuracy, and we get the benefit of some better saving throws. So Heroism Elixir is kind of slept on sometimes. Rhapsody, there is a trick, if you don't already know it. There's a trick to actually get a one-handed weapon in your offhand. So what we'll do is, maybe I'll demonstrate this. If I had two weapons like this, what I can do is go into this inventory and have somebody else on the team pick up that specific weapon, and now that'll get replaced as long as you had nothing in it. Hold on, let's do that again. Take this off, right? Okay, so if I take his weapon, it should leave him empty with this hand, but this hand's not. So you might judge me for using something like that, but whatever. I think we're nerfing ourselves a little bit with the Tavern Brawler not being there. So we'll have Rhapsody. It fits Asterion. I don't know why I care about things like that, but it seems pretty appropriate to me. But Rhapsody, like, I know some of you guys are like, oh, it's Rhapsody again, but really, like, in this build, we want to squeeze out all the necrotic damage we can get. And funny thing about Rhapsody when testing this even enhances the death touch, the touch of death damage too. So I like that, and we're going to need some accuracy that it provides. So it'll be a hefty upgrade in Act 3. And then the Devout Amulet. So something interesting about the Devout Amulet is this gives you a Nether Channel Divinity. It says on long rest, and I don't know if this is fixed already, but from what I've tested, this actually comes back on short rest. So you'll have 3 death touches every short rest. I hope that stays. I like that idea. I like this thing. And then, yeah, I'm just thinking about rings. I'm not totally sure about it, and we just may play it by ear when we actually play this build. But yeah, Asterion's Ascendant Vampire and the Happy ability is really going to help with accuracy, saving throws, and all that. But the Ascendant Vampire is... Okay, look at this damage. This is going to be 1d10 on top of this. That's crazy. So without further ado, let's check out some of the things, once again, we can do with this Way of the Death Touch. Ready? Alright, so of course, we're going to get into some trouble again. Just a little review here. Whoop, whoop. Do some other cool ideas. Remember, at our ultimate ability, they cannot resist, or our ultimate level, they can't resist our necrotic damage, so any way we provide necrotic damage is going to be great. And we do tons of damage even without Death Touch, but yeah, look at that. Ooh, we like that. Now we got some Rhapsody going, some Scarlet Remittance, puts out those numbers here. There we go. So 17 with 12 with 11, and then we use, is that the Touch of Death? No, that was one hit. Yeah, look at that. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's try this again. But first, let me use something else. So again, we'll have different options too. So we can even run a little bit of Spirit Guardians, right? And we get to use that with our main action, which means we can still use maybe Step of the Wind, Disengage. I think this is going to be a really cool combo too. Disengage, Step of the Wind, crazy movement, right? Now you're disengaged and you can just run around people, jumping and doing Spirit Guardians when they can't resist this. And you can slow them down. Dude, I think this will be fun. So it's not just punching. It'll be a fun half caster as well. And remember, we do have the Touch of Death at distance with Bone Chill. Alright, so it takes damage on the start of my turn. We can use Bone Chill from here and here. Maybe we do a little bit of distance. Oh, I lost concentration. Darn it. Oh well. So, guess we'll just have to moiter you with some Inflict Wounds. Push it over the edge with Touch of Death. Woo-boo! There we go. And we can use Step of the Wind again. Or actually, you know what's funny is we could just use Sanctuary. Can't touch this. Walk over to him. Get ready. Alright. Uh-oh. Swing. So we can really force who he goes after, which is great because we'll have the Paladin on the team. Alright. And then, of course, finally, the touch. Boom, boom, boom. Oh yeah, and then you saw earlier we can do like hold person, we maybe blind them. There's a lot of cool tricks I think we're gonna get, especially after level 7 and we evolve this. So that's gonna do it for today. Just wanted to share that. We'll get ready, get hyped for the next run. I'm certainly ready, and I appreciate you guys. It's thanks to your guys' suggestions and ideas and just wanting to show you cool stuff. Like, I want to play cool stuff like this on my runs, and hopefully you do too. So how do we play and even level these up? Go check the runs, the playlist where we play the new subclasses. Like I said, they're all pure pure level 12 run or builds in the respective classes. Then we're going to do a new run. Now that we're just about done with run 3, we're going to do the new run with these guys, including the Death Monk here. So come watch the live stream as we play it in honor mode. And once patch 8 is out, you can see all the cool crazy stuff we've been playing on here. You can go try it out yourself and beat honor mode too. The reason I love freaking honor mode is because it's the best way to play the game in my opinion. And I love playing cool characters like this, even if they're not the strongest. I think they got some really cool playstyle differences. So anyway, I like answering comments. If you want a little bit more detail on this, or you have some questions about the builds, or like just general patch 8 questions while we're waiting for this to come out. So otherwise, you guys are my sponsors, and I really do appreciate it, especially lately. Thank you so much. We'll leave it at that. If you want to support the channel, there's even member support, but the best support is just having fun with me, and I just appreciate you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy, guys.